Welcome to my channel Coin Worth Million today. Video is one you won't to miss. We're diving into the world of coins, top 4 5-cent Canada. So let's get it started. The 1966 Canadian 5-cent coin, often casually referred to as a nickel, is a small, yet significant piece of Canada's mid-20th century numismatic narrative. Although modest in denomination, the 5-cent coin has long occupied a prominent place in the economic and cultural fabric of Canada, and the 1966 issue stands as a distinctive marker within the larger evolution of Canadian currency, arriving at the cusp of material transformation and amidst a growing wave of national identity just before the centennial of Confederation. Struck at the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa, the 1966 5-cent piece remained faithful to its traditional design, bearing the image of the beaver, an animal of great symbolic and economic importance in Canada's history. Designed by G.E. Kruger Gray, the reverse of the coin features a beaver perched on a log, surrounded by water ripples above the word Canada and the coin's denomination. The beaver motif, first introduced in 1937, evokes the early fur trade that shaped Canada's colonial economy and exploration routes, and by extension, the emergence of Canada as a nation. The image, simple yet powerful, is encircled by 12 denticles along the rim and topped by the inscription 5 cents and the date 1966, standing as a visual anchor of both history and function. The obverse side of the coin bears the right-facing portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, rendered by artist Mary Gillick, whose depiction of the young queen without a crown was used on Canadian coinage from 1953 to 1964, but it continued on the 5-cent coin until 1966. This youthful effigy of the monarch reflects Canada's enduring ties to the British Crown, especially in a period where national identity was increasingly being emphasized amid global decolonization and internal cultural diversification. The legend around the portrait reads, Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina, which translates from Latin to Elizabeth II by the grace of God Queen, a traditional phrasing that ties modern governance to divine legitimacy. By 1967, this would change slightly as part of a modernization effort in Canadian currency. As such, the 1966 issue stands at a threshold moment, representing both the continuity of imperial traditions and the subtle shift toward a uniquely Canadian path. Technically, the 1966 5-cent coin was made of nickel, specifically 100% nickel, which gave it a strong magnetic property, a feature useful not only in minting, but later in vending machine compatibility and counterfeit detection. The coin weighed 4.54 grams and had a diameter of 21.2 millimeters, with a smooth, plain edge. Its composition and physical dimensions were the result of design choices made decades earlier when Canada moved away from silver and bronze for its smaller denominations. Nickel was more durable and abundant in Canadian mines, particularly in Sudbury, Ontario, making it a symbol not only of national economic pragmatism, but also of industrial pride. This local sourcing of material aligned with broader 20th century Canadian goals of economic self-reliance and development. The strong silvery sheen of the coin, combined with its high resistance to wear, made it a favorite for circulation and long-term savings. From a production perspective, over 66.8 million 5-cent coins were minted in 1966, a testament to the robust economy of the time and the demand for small change as Canada underwent suburban expansion, increased automobile ownership, and consumer retail growth. With the rise of supermarkets, convenience stores, and vending machines, the humble 5-cent piece found itself at the heart of daily life, buying candy, phone time, or contributing to a bus fare. It was, in many ways, the coin of childhood for many Canadians who grew up in the 1960s, and its beaver design became an endearing and enduring national symbol. While most 1966 nickels entered general circulation, examples in uncirculated or proof-like condition, often found in collector sets, retain a strong appeal for numismatists, especially due to their rich metallic luster and historical context. One fascinating layer to the 1966 5-cent coin lies in its role within a broader historical and technological timeline. The late 1960s was a period of rapid modernization at the Royal Canadian Mint, culminating in the 1969 establishment of the Winnipeg branch and the eventual shift to more cost-effective plated steel coins in later decades. But in 1966, minting practices still followed older, hands-on traditions. Dies were carefully prepared, blanks were manually inspected, and striking techniques emphasized craftsmanship. As a result, minor die varieties, planche issues, and misstrikes from this era are closely studied by error coin collectors. Some rare examples of 1966 nickels display double digits in the date or faint die cracks, which, although not officially cataloged by the Mint, remain of high interest on the secondary market. Moreover, the symbolic role of the beaver as a motif in the 1966 5-cent coin invites deeper reflection. The beaver is not only Canada's national animal, but also a representation of industriousness, adaptability, and resourcefulness, traits that reflect both the natural world and the spirit of a growing post-war Canadian society. As cities expanded and industries evolved, the 5-cent coin, with its sturdy design and working animal emblem, became a small monument to the people who built roads, factories, schools, and homes during this dynamic era. In schools, children learned about the beaver and the fur trade, linking their daily coins to history lessons and a sense of national pride. The 5-cent coin was both a tool of economy and a quiet educator, passed hand to hand in classrooms, corner stores, and laundromats. By the mid-20th century, the 5-cent coin was also increasingly used in collector programs and souvenir sets, especially as the Royal Canadian Mint began marketing to numismatists at home and abroad. While the 1966 nickel is not rare in raw form, high-grade examples with full strikes and lustrous fields remain desirable, particularly those certified by grading companies such as ICCS or PCGS. The coin's design has aged gracefully, and its enduring simplicity continues to appeal to collectors who value clean artistry and historical continuity. For many Canadians, a 1966 5-cent coin found in an old drawer or given in change brings a wave of nostalgia, not only for a bygone economic era, but for the aesthetic and cultural touchstones it represents. Finally, as Canada neared its centennial year in 1967, the 1966 coinage serves as the last regular issue, set before the commemorative designs that would follow. In that way, the 1966 5-cent coin holds an almost ceremonial role. It is the quiet last step in a journey before the great national celebration, before the coins would burst with loons, rabbits, wild geese, and other images unique to Canada's flora and fauna. This final classic design year is often viewed by numismatists as the close of a chapter in Canadian coin artistry and production. Though it lacks the fanfare of a commemorative edition or the rarity of a low mintage year, the 1966 Canadian nickel is a treasured part of the country's circulating coin legacy. It stands resilient in both metal and meaning, bearing witness to a time of optimism, continuity, and change, a small but powerful symbol of a nation quietly asserting its identity through art, metal, and history. The 1993 Canadian 5-cent coin, part of Canada's modern numismatic legacy, embodies the continued evolution of both coin design and production technology, reflecting a maturing Canadian identity at the close of the 20th century. While often overlooked due to its modest face value, the 5-cent coin, colloquially known as the nickel, holds a crucial place in Canada's currency history. In 1993, the coin retained its iconic beaver design, a motif deeply rooted in Canada's heritage and natural identity. Designed by British artist G.E. Kruger Gray, the reverse of the coin features a beaver, hunched over a log amidst flowing water, symbolic of industriousness, resilience, and Canada's fur trade legacy. Above the beaver, the denomination 5 cents arches prominently while Canada is inscribed beneath. The year 1993 stands at the bottom, with 2 maple leaves framing the inscription. an unmistakable national symbol representing strength and peace. The obverse of the coin in 1993 showcases the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II facing right in Idar, a more mature portrayal than the youthful image seen in earlier decades. This version of the Queen's portrait was created by Dora de Patery Hunt, a Canadian sculptor of Hungarian origin, and was introduced in 1990. It was the first Canadian coin portrait of the Queen designed by a Canadian artist and reflects the country's gradual assertion of artistic independence. This regal image, engraved with fine detail and dignity, was accompanied by the Latin inscription Elizabeth II de Regina, Elizabeth II by the grace of God Queen, maintaining traditional monarchic phrasing, while the coin's updated visual language signaled a modernized Canada, proud of its traditions, yet growing into its own artistic and national confidence. Unlike earlier mid-20th century coins made from nickel or silver alloys, the 1993 Canadian 5-cent coin was composed of 100% nickel, a metal sourced largely from Canadian mines, especially in Sudbury, Ontario. The decision to continue using nickel was driven by both national pride in Canada's mineral wealth and the metal's durability and magnetic properties, which suited automated vending and banking technologies. The coin weighed 4.6 grams, had a diameter of 21.2 mm, and featured a smooth, plain edge. Despite its simple construction, the coin reflected an advanced minting process, with higher striking consistency and reduced error rates thanks to upgraded technology at the Royal Canadian Mint, which had by then become one of the most respected mints in the world. The Mint, headquartered in Ottawa with a state-of-the-art facility in Winnipeg, had introduced laser engraving and computer-controlled presses by the early 1990s, improving die life and enhancing design clarity. These upgrades made 1993 coins especially crisp and reflective, especially when viewed in mint or proof condition. In terms of circulation and mintage, the 1993 Canadian 5-cent coin was widely produced, with millions released into general use. Although no official rare variants exist for this year, coin collectors still seek out examples in high-grade mint state, especially those that display full beaver tail details and sharp denticles, hallmarks of a strong strike. Some collectors also look for subtle die variations or minor planchet flaws, although such occurrences are rare and undocumented by the mint. Coins from the 1993 annual proof set, struck in limited quantities for collectors, are especially prized due to their mirror fields and frosted devices. These proof coins were issued in specially curated sets and typically housed in hard plastic cases with velvet-lined presentation boxes, offered by the Mint as gifts and keepsakes. To better appreciate the 1993 nickel, one must consider the economic and cultural context of early 1990s Canada. This was a time of political redefinition and social change. The country had recently ratified the Canada-US Free Trade Agreement, and debates around national unity, especially surrounding Quebec's sovereignty, were heating up, culminating in a 1995 referendum. Amidst these discussions, national symbols like the maple leaf, the beaver, and the queen remained unifying elements. The coin's beaver design harkened back to a shared colonial and natural heritage, while the queen's visage continued to affirm Canada's status as a constitutional monarchy within the Commonwealth. Yet the fact that the portrait had been designed by a Canadian sculptor, rather than a British one, subtly suggested a cultural shift toward asserting a distinct Canadian identity. Another intriguing angle on the 1993 5-cent coin is its role in the greater story of coin reform in Canada. Just a decade later, Canada would discontinue its 1-cent coin and continue transitioning away from solid metal coins toward plated coinage, largely for cost efficiency. While the 1993 5-cent coin was still struck in solid nickel, its days were numbered. By 2000, the Mint began experimenting with multi-ply plated steel coins, which were cheaper and easier to produce. These changes were prompted by the rising cost of raw materials and the need to modernize coinage for use in new electronic payment systems. Therefore, the 1993 nickel sits near the end of the solid metal era in Canadian small-denomination coinage, marking the final stages of an approach that had begun over a century earlier. From a numismatic and cultural standpoint, the 1993 5-cent coin serves as a bridge between eras. It continues the traditional themes of Canadian coinage, nature, monarchy, bilingual symbolism, seen more prominently on packaging, and mineral self-sufficiency, while also participating in a technological shift in minting processes. Collectors today value the coin for its stability, a no-frills design, consistent composition, and reliability. While flashy commemorative coins from other years attract immediate attention, the 1993 nickel remains a quiet constant, a reflection of Canada's economic steadiness and its deeper national ethos. For those who grew up in the 1990s, this coin is part of the everyday pocket change that bought gum, arcade tokens, or paid phone calls, grounding it in lived memory and personal nostalgia. Moreover, the beaver, chosen in 1975 as the official national animal of Canada, remains uniquely tied to the 5-cent piece, which is the only denomination to feature it. The 1993 coin, therefore, continues a tradition now nearly 60 years old, where one of Canada's most enduring mammals, known for engineering habitats, building dams, and altering landscapes, is metaphorically linked to the country's capacity for resilience, adaptation, and building strong foundations. The beaver design, retained for its powerful symbolism and immediate recognizability, also contrasts with other denominations that began featuring loons, polar bears, caribou, and sailing ships, each rooted in Canada's natural or historical landscape. The 5-cent coin thus anchors the broader numismatic tradition in a specific symbol of labor and unity, making it unique among its coinage peers. In conclusion, the 1993 Canadian 5-cent coin is far more than just a small denomination in the nation's economy. It is a distilled expression of Canadian heritage, natural symbolism, and quiet progress. Its design is unchanging yet meaningful, its production a reflection of technological prowess, and its presence in circulation a reminder of everyday Canadian life in the 1990s. Though it holds little monetary value today, its worth to collectors, historians, and citizens lies in the story it tells of a country rich in resources, rooted in nature, respectful of tradition, and poised for transformation. Whether tucked in a coin album, passed through generations, or found by chance in a forgotten jar, the 1993 nickel remains a sturdy, shining emblem of Canada in motion, quiet, consistent, and deeply Canadian.